Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Halo Zone podcast. This is going to be episode 2. We're going to be talking about the series sweep the Angels had over the Baltimore Orioles, along with the upcoming series versus the Boston Red Sox. It should be a fun one. The Angels are playing somewhat well. Again, they won all 3 games versus Baltimore, which is all you can ask for. But winning 2 in walk-off fashion. Again, there was lots of positive, but there were some negatives. So they're gonna have to play better this week if they're gonna want to continue to win games versus teams like Boston, and then this upcoming weekend versus Seattle. But let's just get into it. But before we talk about the Orioles series, let's get into just like some of the things that happened over the weekend. Let's start with Shohei Ohtani, which again, how could you not start with Shohei Ohtani with the way he's playing? He's always going to be in the news if he's playing like this, because like, how would he not be? He's insane. He won AL Player of the Month for June. Again, he hit like 13 bombs or something. He had a slugging of like 1,000, and that's just insane because an OPS of 1,000 is insane. If you're slugging 1,000 along with like a 400 on base, that like even in a month, that's crazy. But again, I can't say enough about him. He's so good. He's probably the most talented baseball player I've ever watched ever, and maybe that I'll ever end up watching in my lifetime. He's so good. Like he can do anything, and that's like the crazy thing. Griffin Canning, he got sent down to AAA Salt Lake after his struggling his bad start on what was it? It was Friday. Yeah, I hate to see that happen. I really like Griffin Canning. I still think he can be an effective pitcher at the big league level. It's just the velo differential kills him. Again, you can't have your fastball being topping out in the mid 90s at like 95, but usually sitting between 93, 94, and then throw a 90 mile per hour changeup and a 90 mile per hour slider, because guys can just sit on they can sit on the fastball, and if they're wrong, they can. It's not that much of a differential. They can react in almost the same way. It's just tough, man. Hopefully he figures some things out. Works on his mechanics a bit. Can control that fastball high. He's had that problem since spring training. He's been sailing fastballs way above the zone where they're not even competitive pitches. It's just he needs to work on some things. And again, like, I think the Angels gave him every opportunity that they could, with him trying to do it at the big league level. But again, the Angels, they're in a spot where they gotta win, and they gotta win consistently. And you can't really trot out guys every 5th day, every 6th day that are going to put you in a hole. And we saw this with Quintana, we saw this with Bundy, now we're seeing it with Canning. They aren't afraid to take guys out of the rotation because they're trying to win. And they're trying to put the best 5 or the best 6 every start, like, in the rotation. And it's tough, man. We'll see what happens. Brandon Marsh, let's talk about him a bit. He played a bit in AAA, and then he hurt his shoulder. That's been a problem with him since like spring training. But he played a rehab game with the rookie league, the ACL Angels, which is funny, but whatever. He went 2 for 3, hit a home run, so obviously that's good to see from Marsh. They need to get him back playing at AAA, because they're probably going to need him sometime down the line, especially after 2022 when Justin Upton is probably going to be gone. By then, Adele will be up most likely, and again, if they have him up, they can put those two in the corners around Trout, and if those guys live up to expectations, that's a really, really talented outfield. So hopefully he can just get back healthy. That's the big thing with him. Again, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a really good player at the big league level. He's really patient at the plate. He's a really good defender. It's just he's got to stay healthy. That's kind of been the thing that's kind of hindered him the last few seasons. Andrew Wentz got called up from AAA. He had a 2.1 ERA in AAA, which is like insane considering he was playing in the PCL, which is basically Coors on steroids. So that's kind of what the PCL is when it comes to hitters. But and he succeeded down there. And again, he pitched on Sunday. He made his debut. He looked pretty sharp. So obviously that's a positive sign. He's going to help out in the bullpen if he can continue to pitch like he did on Sunday. And the Angels need as much help on the pitching front as humanly possible. So getting a guy like Wentz who hopefully can come up and be really good immediately and consistently good, they need that. They need guys that can just put up zeros out of the bullpen when it comes to either protecting leads or keeping deficits at 1 or at 2 and giving the offense opportunities. That's what they need. And obviously holding leads, getting the ball to Rysel with a lead, that's super, super important. Scott Schebler, he got DFA'd today, or not today. What am I talking about? He got DFA'd on Saturday. I don't think there was an announcement if he cleared waivers yet. I will assume that he did, because I don't think there are a bunch of suitors. I don't think there's a bunch of suitors that are lining up trying to get Scott Schebler. But again, if it's only one team puts in a claim, then he's gonna be gone. But I don't think that's that big of a deal. Again, he had a decent spring. He's been hitting somewhat well in AAA, but again, that is the PCL. But again, at the big league level, he doesn't really have a plan at the plate. He takes a lot of pitches that are over the middle of the plate, and then he swings some pitches at his head. It's like weird. Obviously, he has the pop to, if he gets into a pitch, he can hit it a long way. But it's just how many times he's gonna barrel up a baseball. Like it's tough. I don't know. Jose Rojas, he got called back up on Sunday after they played with 25 men on Saturday. Again, whatever. Hopefully, again, I don't know what the plan's going to be when Justin Upton comes back. The plan, I thought, at least, and I think everyone else thought, that he was going to be activated yesterday off the injured list, and that Rojas wasn't even going to be in the conversation. But whatever. Joe Madden. Again, I could rant for an hour about how bad or how much I dislike Joe Madden as a manager. I get he does some things well, I guess. But again, I'm not a fan of him. And again, like I wasn't even that hard on Ausmus. I liked Ausmus like somewhat. Like I didn't think he was like a really good manager, but I thought he was okay. But like he's better. I liked Ausmus more than I like Joe Madden. Let's just say that. But again, he got a big hit, Rojas, on Sunday after he came in for Taylor Ward after he got hurt or something. I don't know. But again, he's probably going to be up again today. It'll be interesting if Ward is unavailable and Rendon are unavailable, because both of them left yesterday with injuries. If both those two are unavailable and they activate Justin Upton off the injured list, what do? Like, do they make a roster move just to open up a roster spot so they don't have to send Rojas down? Or I don't know. Maybe they just play with the short bench. Again, Joe Madden's not afraid to do that. He's played with a 2-man bench, and like again, I don't get that, but whatever. As for the Angels on the All Star front, because the All Star rosters were announced yesterday, the Angels have 3 All-Stars for the first time since 2015 when Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and Hector Santiago, that's a set of names, um, made the All-Star team. This year, they have 3. They have Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and Jared Walsh. Obviously, Trout and Ohtani were named All-Star starters. Trout's not going to play because he's hurt, but Shohei will play. And then Walsh, he makes it as a reserve infielder, which is great to see. He's been one of the best hitters in the American League this season. He's been a godsend, especially considering he gave us the ability to get rid of Albert. That was huge. But again, I think all 3 of them, well, Shohei and Walsh 100% deserve it. Again, he's the MVP right now. So he should be on the All-Star team. And then Jared Walsh, he's been, again, one of the best hitters in the American League. He's a very good defender. He's been probably the clutchest player on the team this season. And that showed again this past weekend. But, again, did Trout deserve it? Personally, I don't think so because I just don't think he played enough. Again, he was on the track to be an All-Star, so I guess that kind of makes sense. And again, I think if he deserved to make it, he should have been named a starter. Like, the only way he was going to make the team is if he was named a starter, because I doubt they would have named him as a reserve just to replace him. So I'm happy he did make it because it adds another All-Star appearance to his resume. But again, like, if he didn't make it, I wouldn't have been like frustrated or mad or anything because he got hurt and he's only played like 40 games, 40, 35, something like that. So it's, again, my opinion, I wouldn't have thought, I didn't think he would make it once he got hurt, but again, he did, so I'm not going to complain. But yeah, the Angels have 3 All-Stars. And also, 2015, which was the last time they had 3 All-Stars, that was the last time they finished over 500. So that kind of, maybe, like, again, that repeats itself and they take that step and then they had pitching in the offseason and they take that step up and then they're, like, really fucking good and they're, like, winning the West. I don't know. We talked about this earlier. Rendon and Taylor Ward, they left Sunday's game with separate injuries. Joe Madden said they weren't serious, but again, we can't trust Joe Madden. Joe Madden says things and then they aren't true. I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, Rendon hurt his hamstring charging a ball in the infield, and then Taylor Ward like jammed his finger diving back into a bag. Again, both those don't sound serious, but again, we don't know. So again, we just have to wait and see until like roster moves happen, if roster moves happen, or until they're back in the lineup. I doubt either of them play today, just because, again, like if it was serious enough for them to have to leave the game mid game, I would think it's smart to give them a day or 2 off their feet. So we'll see. As for the standings this weekend, the Angels obviously did get a sweep, so they were able to make up some ground in the standings. They didn't make up any ground in the division. They made up none because Houston swept Cleveland. So they're still 9 back, which actually they lost a half game because Houston played a 4-game set. So yeah, they lost a half game in the standings. So that after a sweep, so that's not fun. But they climbed from 7.5 back to 5.5 back behind Tampa Bay and Oakland. So they're only 5.5 back out of both the first and the second wild card spot. And again, there are a bunch of teams in between the Angels and then Oakland and Cleveland. But they gained 3.5 games technically on Cleveland. So they're only a game behind Cleveland, which, again, Cleveland was super far ahead of us for the longest time. But they gained 3.5 on Cleveland. They gained 2 games on the Yankees, so they're dead even with the Yankees right now. and they also gained a game on Cleveland and no, not Cleveland, and they gained a game on Toronto and Seattle. So they're only 2 behind Toronto and Seattle. I'm pretty sure, yeah. 2 behind them. They're 1 behind Cleveland, and they're dead even with the Yankees. So again, you do have to beat those teams. You have to get ahead of those teams to obviously get into the wild card spot. But at the same time, that's kind of like, again, they're just 5.5 back away from being in a wild card spot. But again, we'll go over standings and stuff, whatever. But again, I'm not really paying much attention to the standings right now because, again, the Angels, they just got to win games. And again, if they get really close, then we'll start scoreboard watching and like cheering for other teams. But right now, I'm just hoping that the Angels can win and keep winning. And again, it'd be nice if they can win tonight and get 2 above 500. Like, when was the last time they were 2 above 500? Probably when they were like 10-8 or something. So I would just like them to build some games above 500. And then, hey man, and again, if they do that, they're gonna gain on teams, especially with the series that are being played this week, because lots of the teams they're competing against are playing each other. But yeah, again, they made nothing. They didn't do anything they didn't get anything on Houston, which kind of sucks. But again, Houston's, I literally don't understand what happened with Houston when they played Baltimore. I don't get it. Like, how do you get swept by Baltimore and then sweep Cleveland? And they were at home, weren't they? Yeah, they were at home, and they got swept by Baltimore. That's insane. Wow. But yeah, that's kind of all that we got. Hopefully Justin Upton is activated off the injured list today. That would be huge, especially with the real possibility that we aren't going to see Anthony Rendon or Taylor Ward in the lineup. But again, we'll see. But let's talk about what happened in the Baltimore series. Let's talk about that. So obviously they got the sweep, which is great. You want, like, again, when you're playing teams like Baltimore, that's the goal. The goal is to sweep them because they aren't very good. Again, some of the games were, again, they didn't really have a game where they blew them out. But again, like, they won game 2 pretty comfortably, if that's so. I'm sorry. But again, game 1, game 3, they had to win via walk-off. But again, they won all 3. That's all I could ask for. Again, they could win every game 1-0 or 27-26. I don't care. I just want them to win. But let's talk about the first game of the series. We talked about Griffin Canning already, about how bad he was against Baltimore, and again, he's just been bad against Baltimore his whole career. And like, that's the team you're bad at. Like, I don't know. But yeah, he went 2 2/3. He gave up 6 runs. He had no Ks. He wasn't getting any whiffs. Like, he wasn't fooling anybody. It's just bad start. Again, he was solid in his 3 before, but he had a bad start. I just think the Angels, they kind of just, they had to have seen what we've seen with the velo thing, and they're like, yeah, like, this just isn't gonna play. So I'm hoping that's why they sent him down. And again, people think they sent him down just because they were gonna skip him in the rotation and they wanted the roster spot. Which, again, I would not be surprised if that's the fucking reason why. But again, I hope he pitches in AAA. I hope they have him pitch a game in AAA. They probably will, because they probably won't want him to, like, miss 2 weeks. Speaking of it, yeah, he will pitch in AAA. But yeah, we'll see how he does there. Again, hopefully he has some success down there and gives him a little bit of confidence. That'd be huge. But after Canning, the bullpen came in and they did really well. They did about as well as you can expect them to. Between Slegers, Quintana, Cishek, and Myers, they combined for 4 2/3 innings. They gave up 2 hits and only 1 run. The walks were kind of there. Again, Quintana got charged for the run, and he didn't give up a hit. He walked a guy, and then Cishek came in and let him score. But again, I can't complain about that. The Angels, they went down early in that game because of Canny's bad start. Again, they got back in it really quickly, but the bullpen really gave them the opportunity to win that ball game late. And also, though, shout out Bryce Iglesias. He pitched in all 3 games of the series. First game, he was dominant. Faced 5 hitters, got them all out. Came in a tough spot, first and second, with 1 out in the 8th in a tie game, and he just mowed through Baltimore. It was like he was amazing. And then as for the offense, they hit 3 homers in game 1, 2 from Ohtani, and then 1 from Jose Iglesias. The Jose Iglesias home run. Again, obviously Ohtani, he got a pitch high and in and smoked it, and then he got a pitch on the outer part of the plate and he hit it into the bullpen, into the Angels bullpen, which is just, that's insane from a lefty. But the Jose Iglesias home run, to me, that was really impressive because it was a really good pitch from Keegan Atkin. It was a pitch I'm pretty sure it was a breaking ball, but it dipped below the strike zone. It was low and in, and he just golfed it, and he just poked it out into the Orioles bullpen. And when he first hit it, I thought he hit it foul because I was like, "There's no way that he's pimping," because he knew it off the bat. I was like, "There's no way he pimped that because there's that's not getting out," but it did. So again, nice swing. Again, it was a ball, which is kind of Iggy's problem. He swings. He doesn't like to walk. But again, I'm not even going to hate. He had 2 walks this series, including a huge one in Game 3. But whatever. And then Anthony Rendon, he went 3 for 5. He had a double off the wall. He had a couple more hits. He had a really good game. He had a really good series before he left the game in Game 3. But yeah, we love to see that from Rendon. We need him to get hot. Hopefully he's fine. But again, I'm not holding. I would not be surprised if later today we see that he got put on the injured list. I hope not. I hope he's back soon, but we'll see. Taylor Ward, he had a 2 for 4 game. Another guy that got hurt on Sunday, but he had a 2 for 4 game in Game 1. Again, lots of people don't like Taylor Ward for some reason. I don't get it. I think he's a very solid player. I guess maybe it's because of just his defensive struggles at the Trop, but again, that's the Trop, and with the catwalks and stuff, it is easy to lose track of some fly balls. So obviously, that's no excuse, but again, I feel like that's kind of the reason. But again, I think Taylor Ward's a really good player. And then Max Stassi, he also went 2 for 4. He had an RBI hit in that game. That's great to see from Max. We need Max to be hot. We need Max to be able to be a run producer, to drive some balls into the gap, get some big hits. So it's obviously great to see that from Stassi, who again, ever since 2020 started, he's been a plus offensive catcher, which is very hard to find, especially one that is also a very good defensive catcher. Because obviously you could have a Wilson Ramos type catcher where, yeah, he can hit, but everything he gives you at the plate, he gives away behind the plate. But with Max, he gives you both. He's an excellent framer. He can hit. He's good defensively. So I'm happy he's an Angel. We'll see what they do with his contract. He has another year of arbitration, but I'd love to see him play for the Angels for a good while. And then, obviously, biggest play of the game was Jared Walsh. His RBI single that won the game, that walked it off, and gave the Angels, what was that, an 8-7 win. But again, let's talk about what happened leading up to that. So I think Fletch led the inning off. He popped out or something. Ohtani comes up. They switch pitchers. They bring in the lefty, Paul Fry. It's the only time they saw Paul Fry this series. He comes in. Someone's doing yard work. But he comes in, face Ohtani, and obviously Ohtani homered 2 times before. Everyone's thinking, holy shit, if he hits another home run here and walks it off, that would be the most insane thing ever. And again, obviously, I bet he's thinking at that point, man, if I get a pitcher drive, I'm going to try to hit one out and win this game. But the big thing that I saw here with Ohtani is Ohtani didn't expand. Ohtani didn't expand his strike zone. He didn't try to do too much, which is what he would do a lot in like 2020. He did that a lot in 2020. He would expand his strike zone, trying to do way too much, and just the results didn't follow. And again, he got into a 3-2 count or a 3-1 count. He ends up walking. It was a really good at bat because he didn't chase anything. He didn't expand his strike zone, and that's kind of just the elevation of Shohei Ohtani at the plate. He has been a lot more patient. His plate discipline has improved a lot, and that's really been why the power has come, because now pitchers, they're getting behind in the count against him, and now they have to throw him pitches over the plate. And obviously, we know any pitch in the strike zone Ohtani can hit out of the ballpark. So it's just, he's insane, man. But again, that was just like the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, yeah, like that's why the power numbers are here, because he's always had the power, but now pitchers can't get ahead of him and then throw breaking balls down and away, and he's just gonna go fish at it. So that was huge. And then Rendon comes up. He ends up striking out. Ohtani stole second, but he got pulled back because Rendon, on his backswing, hit the catcher in the head as he was going to throw. So they had to send Ohtani back. But then first pitch, Walsh comes up, runner on first 2 outs versus the lefty. First pitch, Ohtani goes. He steals second. So now you got a guy on second base. Next pitch, Walsh lines one. What was that? 109 mile per hour exit velocity. Lines one into right for a hit. They brought in Ryan McKenna at that point for Anthony Santander for defense. And again, McKenna, his throw, obviously it was a little short, but it was a really good throw. And the ball was hit hard, and they were playing in because they knew base hit in front of us. We're gonna have to make a throw because with Ohtani's the fastest player on the team. So, but yeah, balls hit right at him. One hops in front of him, and Ohtani right away he breaks. And again, it was a super close play. Again, he had a really good slide where he kind of leaned away while having his foot out, so it was a longer tag for the catcher, but he angled his foot in so he could get the plate, and again he barely beat the throw, and the Angels won the game. So again, that was awesome. I said last episode that I always trust Jared Walsh in that situation. Once Ohtani stole second, I was like, yeah, we got a real shot here. So obviously, that was great to see. They won that game. That got them to 40-41. That was a game they needed to win. If they dropped the first game to Baltimore at home, that's bad juju for the rest of the series. Then let's go to Saturday's game, where the story of the night was Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb was excellent. He was excellent. A lot of ground balls. He went 7 2/3. Threw 108 pitches, I think. But yeah, he went 7 2/3. He only gave up 4 hits. No extra base hits, all singles. He gave up 1 run, he walked 1 guy, and he struck out 6. So, again, he got a lot of grounders. He got a lot of double plays. And again, and the big thing was the split was working. When Alex Cobb is the split working, he can be a dominant pitcher. He can be, well, not dominant like 8 innings, no runs, 13 Ks type dominant, but he could be dominant to the, like, in the sense of he's just going to put up zeros and he's going to get quick innings. He's going to go deep into ball games. The problem is the split isn't always there, and then when he doesn't have the split, he has to trust his fastball more and his knuckle curve, and those just aren't his top pitches. His split is his top pitch because it gets a lot of whiffs and it gets a lot of soft contact. So when he has that working, then you know that it's going to be a good night for him. And again, the funny thing about it, he did against Baltimore. Obviously, last few years, I think he signed with them going into 2018. Last couple seasons, Alex Cobb has been an Oriole. And when the Orioles traded him here, they gave us $10 million for his contract out of the 15. So Alex Cobb threw a gem against his team, against his former team. And then when he collected his paycheck, 2/3 of that paycheck was paid for by the team he threw a gem against. So that's just funny. But again, shout out to Alex Cobb. That was an insane game. And the Angels needed that. Their bullpen really needed that game. Cishek came in with 2 outs after he gave up a hit. He gave up another hit, and then Cishek did, and then got out of the inning and kept it 4-1. And then Rysel came in the 9th and pitched a 1-2-3 inning, had 2 Ks. He was really good, and they just won that game 4-1. Offensively, in the first inning, Jared Walsh, he had a RBI double, right? No. Wait. The RBI double was yesterday. I know Walsh had an RBI hit on Saturday. Oh, no, he had an RBI single. Okay, yeah. Oh, this is the game. Okay, so they loaded the bases with nobody out. That's this game. They loaded the bases with nobody out in the first off Jorge Lopez. And then Walsh had an RBI infield single. Phil Gosselin grounded into an RBI. Force out Stassi into a double play with first and third with 1 out, which ended the threat. But they got 2 quick runs in the first, and then in the third, Juan Lagares had an RBI double, which made it 3-0. And then later on in the game, Phil Gosselin had another RBI hit, which made it 4-1, I think, at the time. Again, the offense was kind of quiet, especially later on in the game. They got 4 pretty early runs, and then they weren't really able to add on after that. But again, Alex Cobb was good enough to where it was still good enough for them to win this game. They walked Shohei Ohtani 3 times in this game. 2 times were intentionally. They did not want to deal with him. They did not want to throw him anything to hit. And again, why would you want to throw Shohei Ohtani anything good to hit? Because if you do and he hits it, it's going to go a long way. And again, he hit 3 home runs in this series. Like, just cuz. Like, that's crazy. This is the only game of the series he didn't homer. So, Luis Rengifo. I want to talk about him a little bit. This was the only game he started in the series. I think this may have been the only game he played. I don't think he played yesterday. Oh, wait, no, he did. He came in for Rendon. Okay. But, I want to talk about his performance at the plate. I think he went 1 for 3 in this game. Or 1 for 4. He may have won 1 for 3 with a walk or something. I don't know. But Rengifo, his at-bats look a lot better than they did early on in the season. And his plate discipline looks a lot better. Again, he's not chasing 2 strikes. He's a much better 2-strike hitter now because he isn't so reluctant to chase that pitch in the dirt. And like again, that's a big thing for him because that's kind of like what hindered a lot of his at bats early on in his career is he'd get two strikes and pitchers would know, oh, if I throw a curve, like a good curve in the dirt, he's gonna chase it, especially on the back foot. So I think that's like the big thing for Rengifo. He needs to get better. Well, he has gotten better. He needs to get better. He's keep getting better at that because again, he still will chase. But he also had a swing where he kind of inside out at a ball and he almost poked it like deep down the left field line for what would have been a ground rule double. He almost again like he's a little more power that might have gotten out. Or maybe if it was a day game, maybe that finds its way out of the yard. But again, he's just getting better, and that's obviously what you want to see. His defense is already there. He can play anywhere but first base in the infield. He can play in the corner outfield. So it's really positive to see guys improving. Again, it's been a lot of guys that have improved this year, so that's just huge. But yeah, and the Angels won that game 4-1. That got them back to 500, and again, it was an overall good game. It was a game. It was a good change of pace because the last two games they had to win in grand fashion late. This one they got the lead early. They held on to it. It was just like there wasn't much stress. It was kind of like, yeah, we got this. Cops pitching. The only time I was stretched. Wow. The only time I was stressed is when Cishek came in and he gave up the hit to Pat Valaika to make it first and second, 2 outs, and Cedric Mullins came up. But then he got Mullins out. I think he struck him out, maybe. Did he strike out Cedric Mullins? I think he blew like a sinker by him, like an 88. But yeah, good game. No stress. You love to see it. And then game 3. Patrick Sandoval pitched. I think the best way to describe his outing was he was wild yet effective. Again, he walked 3 guys early in the first inning. He had a 35-pitch first inning. His command wasn't there. But with bases loaded, 2 outs, and a 3-2 count, he threw a great breaking ball that got DJ Stewart to strike out and ended the threat. And again, Sandoval's stuff is good enough to where he can get into some trouble and get out of it because his stuff plays well. The next step, the next step is the consistency and the Did y'all hear that? Someone just lit off a firework. I'm not recording this on 4th of July. I'm recording this day after on the 5th. What the whatever. Like, but bro, what, do you have like an extra? But as I was saying, the next step in with the polish and the is him getting the polish and the consistency to where he's a walking through guys in the inning. Like, he knows that even if some pitches, like his command isn't there, he knows what to do to not lose as many guys. And again, it's easier said than done. Again, when you're watching at home, it's like, oh, well, just throw strikes. But it's harder. It's like harder than that because you obviously, as a pitcher, you aren't just say, oh, I'll just throw one right down the middle. And again, you're still trying to make competitive pitches. So I don't know. Again, he was still good, but again, that first inning, it showed that like he isn't all the way there yet. He still has another level to lock into, and that's very good to see because even now he's been very good this season. So again, he made it through 5+. He threw 5 innings of shutout ball. Joe had him go back out for the 6th, which I didn't mind, but he gave an infield hit, then walked Trey Mancini. Was it Trey Mancini? I don't remember. I think it was. And then the thing about Madden that I did not understand is, so the 2 guys get on, you pull Sandoval. I agree with that. Again, his pitch count was super high. That's when you take him out. But he brings in Slaggers. He brought in Slaggers, who Slaggers is 100% one of the guys I trust the least in the bullpen when it comes to inherited runners. He is one of the guys I trust the absolute least. And lo and behold, he comes in, double, or he gave up like 3 hits, back to back to back. He didn't get an out, right? There's no way Slaggers got an out yesterday. We got 1 out. Oh yeah, the first batter like hit a line drive that was hit super hard that turned into an out. But then he gives up 2 hits, both end up scoring. But again, he leaves the game. It's 4-3, and there's a runner on second with 1 out. I did not understand. With all the guys you have in the bullpen that you could have brought in that spot, you could have brought like there's so many dudes down there that you could have brought in, and you chose Aaron Slaggers. Like I don't understand that. I don't what's the thought process? What is the thought process? I don't get it. But yeah, so Slaggers sucks. He makes it 4-3 with a runner on second. Yeah, runner on second with 1 out. Joe goes to Wentz, and again, I don't get how if you're willing to use this guy in a high leverage situation in his big league debut, why don't you just bring Wentz in when you pulled Sandoval? Like, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't you have just brought in Wentz once Sandoval was done? And then let's Wentz get through that and then pitch the next inning if he was going good, which he was. Wentz comes in, first pitch was drilled. His first couple batters, the first batter he faced, he gave up a really hard hit baseball. But Lagarde tracked it down in left center field. And then the Orioles, they brought up Cedric Mullins to hit, which sucked. He was supposed to have the day off, but then they brought him up to hit. And he hit a jam shot in the left that fell in front of Goslin for an RBI single that tied the game. So just like that, again, they enter the inning, they enter the sixth, they have a 4-0 lead, they have a comfortable lead, and just like that, the game's tied. Yeah, they bring in Wentz pitched a clean 7th after he got out of the 6th. Then Myers pitched the 8th. He walked a guy, but he had a decent game. They bring in Rice out for the 3rd game in a row. I didn't like the idea. Again, I don't think you can use relievers 3 days in a row, especially against the same team. Maybe you can get away with it if it's first you use them at the end of a series and then the first 2 games of a series. Maybe you can get away with that. But again, 3 times versus the same team. They obviously have seen him now because he pitched the first 2 games and he was dominant. And again, Rysel wasn't even bad. He just, again, 3-2 count. He tried to run a fastball by Cedric Mullins, and Mullins was ready for it. He hit 1 out to right field. He got it over the yellow line and right center field. And like that, it was a 5-4 game. A game that it seemed like the Angels had control over entering the 6th inning. It snowballed on them, and then they lost the lead in the 9th, and it just seemed like they were actually going to drop the game. At that point, Baltimore had all the momentum. The Angels really didn't have anything going their way. They couldn't get a guy on base to save their lives later on in that game when the game was tied, and it just seemed like they weren't going to have it, especially with the part of the order that was coming up. But Bottom 9, they made it happen. But early on in the game, Walsh had an RBI double to score Fletcher that gave them a lead early. Then Phil Gosselin with 2 outs had a broken bat single into left to extend the lead to 2-0. And then in the third, Otani homered dead center on the batter's eye, 459 feet. And then that was followed up 2 batters later with a Anthony Rendon solo home run down the left field line that just got out and made it 4-0. But again, after that, they couldn't score. And until the ninth inning, they had 6, 7, 8 due up, which was Iglesias, Suzuki, and Rojas. They only had Stassi on the bench, and today was Stassi's day off because he caught the first 2 games. So you have Iglesias, Suzuki, Rojas, and then after that, Lagares on the top of the order. It just didn't. Cole Sulser was in the game. He's had a great season. He got Gosselin to strike out in the 8th to end the inning. They brought him in to face Gosselin, and he got out of it. And it just seemed like they weren't going to win this one. But Jose Iglesias comes up, and he does the unthinkable. He works a walk, which for Jose Iglesias never walks. He never walks. I think he's still in the single digits when it comes to walks in the season, and we're halfway through the year. And I get he missed some time, but still, he never walks. He works a walk. He takes a 3-2 changeup high, and you could watch the clip of it again if you could find it, but he wanted to swing at that 3-2 changeup so bad, but he held back, and thank God he did. Suzuki comes up, and somehow he snaps an 0 for 14, and he shoots one up the middle for a hit. Again, the way he hit it, that was a tailor-made double play, but it just found a hole, so thank gosh. And then Rojas comes up. They ask him to bunt. He puts up 2 of the most pathetic bunt attempts I may have ever seen in my life. Again, it looked like he wasn't even trying to bunt. He just kind of had it. Like, it looked like he never bunted before. Which maybe he just hasn't. I don't know. But they ask him to bunt. He pops up 2 bunts. Foul. 0-2, he gets a split away, which is Sulser's best pitch. But he left it up, and he lines it up the middle. It one-hops. It one-hops Cedric Mullins center for a single. They go station to station. Suzuki gets the second. Iglesias gets the third. The bases are loaded with nobody out. This one, I'm feeling good. I'm outside. I'm by the pool. Bases are loaded. Nobody out. The Angels are down 5-4. I'm enjoying my 4th of July. It was awesome. But I was also thinking, man, like, they better not blow this. So Lagares comes up. Takes a ball, takes a strike, 1-1. It looked like he kind of like got jammed, and he kind of like insided it out one to right center field. But he got the barrel on it, and he smoked one over Cedric Mullins' head. It one-hopped the wall, and the Angels won 6-5 on a walk-off double by Juan Lagares. Who, again, I was thinking, and again, the Angels are going to have to make the decision coming up. When Trout and Upton are back, assuming Ward and Rendon are healthy, they're going to have to make a decision on one of these guys who are like playing a bit now, but are bench guys, utility guys. Again, they're going to have to decide between guys like Rengifo and Juan Lagares and other players that are on the bench. Phil Gosselin, even though I don't think they're gonna move Phil Gosselin down or DFA him or whatever, but they're gonna have to choose. They're gonna have to choose who is not gonna be on the roster. And again, we'll see. I going into the series, going into like the last few games, or going into like a week ago, I would have thought 100% it was Juan Lagares, but he's been playing better lately. I get he only had a 2 for 12 against Baltimore, but again, he's been solid. He's been really good defensively. But again, Luis Rengifo, he can play the middle infield. I get people think Phil Gosselin can play some second base. Maybe he can. I just don't trust him defensively, especially for a long-term thing. And by long-term thing, I'm talking like if a guy gets hurt and misses some games, but it doesn't require a roster move, having Phil Gosselin play like 2-3 games at second base, I just don't trust that. So yeah, I think if a guy were to get sent down, I would probably think I was thinking it's probably going to be Juan Lagares, because you're probably going to want to keep Phil Gosselin. You're probably going to like Taylor Ward. He's been too good to where you send him down. And then Rengifo, like again, he's getting better at the plate. He's good defensively. You can play a bunch of different positions. It's interesting, man. It's interesting. But again, they just got the sweep. That's all you can really ask for when you're playing Baltimore. Let's talk about the Red Sox series now, because that's who's coming into town for a 3-game set starting tonight. This is going to be a lot tougher than Baltimore, obviously, because the Red Sox are good. Baltimore's not. The Red Sox, they're one of the teams that I've been most surprised by this season. Like, the Red Sox have had a very good year. And, like, I did not think the Red Sox were going to be this good. Or I didn't think they were going to be good at all. I thought the Red Sox, they were going to be like, I didn't think they were even going to be like sniffing the playoffs. And they may go in with home field advantage the way they're playing right now. Again, Houston's on their tail. Obviously, the White Sox have played well, even though they haven't been playing as well as of late. But it looks like they're going to win the Central just because the Twins haven't been good. The Indians are starting to struggle. They may just win by default. But Boston, yeah, they have a comfortable lead in the East now because the Rays have been struggling and they've been red hot. Again, the Blue Jays, the Blue Jays are probably, in my opinion, right now the biggest threat to kind of take over from Boston. The Blue Jays are probably one of the teams when it comes to the wild card race I'm kind of most scared of, that the Angels could maybe not get ahead, because I think the Angels, I think they're better than the Indians. I think they're better than the Mariners. I think they're better than the Yankees with the way the Yankees are playing right now. Obviously, I think the Yankees, they're better than how they're playing. But it's interesting, man. But the Blue Jays have been really good. And again, I think they've been a bit unlucky, kind of like how I think the Angels have been a bit unlucky when it comes to win-loss record. Even though the Angels' run differential kind of indicates that they shouldn't be a 500 team. But again, the Angels have also been one of the most unlucky teams when it comes to pitching. When it comes to like, because their advanced pitching numbers are great, but they're really good. But their actual numbers when it comes to like ERA and stuff have been really bad. So whatever. But yeah, I really like the Blue Jays. But just throwing that out there. But yeah, the Red Sox, they have the best record in the American League right now, 53-32. They have the third best record in the MLB, only behind the Giants and the Dodgers. They just took 2 out of 3 versus the Oakland A's in Oakland, so that kind of shows how they're playing right now. The guys they have right now on the IL are Kevin Plawecki, Christian Arroyo, Chris Sale, and Ryan Brazier. The only guys that have played this year, on their IL have been Kevin Plawecki, who was a backup catcher, and Christian Arroyo, who's a utility guy, but he was really hot before he got put on the IL. And they're 9-1 in their past 10 games. So again, they're red hot. And again, the game they lost, it was that game on Saturday versus Oakland where they had a 4-2 lead and they lost it. And then it went into extras and they took a 6-4 lead. And then they brought in Matt Andrees. And Matt Andrees did what Matt Andrees does and sucked. And they lost. So, but again, they're on fire. This is going to be super tough for the Angels to compete with this team. But we'll see. Stats wise, they have a 104 weighted runs created plus as a team that's tied for 7th in the MLB. That's tied for 5th in the American League. They have a 329 weighted on base percentage, tied for 3rd in the MLB, 3rd in the American League. They have a 322 on base, 9th in the MLB. That's 4th in the American League. They've hit 107 home runs. That's 11th in the MLB and 6th in the AL. So in basically every offensive stat, they're top 10 in the entire MLB and top 5 in the American League. So they have one of the best offenses in the American League. And again, the Angels can match that. They have one of the best offenses in the American League as well. But the difference is the other side of the baseball or the other side of the diamond or whatever. Again, their offense, it's full of guys that can hit. Again, they have a couple weak spots. Like, man, again, their catching position with Christian Vasquez and I think Connor Wong is their backup catcher right now. But even Christian Vasquez isn't that bad of a hitter. Again, Bobby Dahlbeck, he only has a 265 on base, but again, he has a lot of power. Marwin Gonzalez has had a pretty bad year, but again, he's been a successful hitter in the past, so they have a bunch of capable hitters in their lineup. But the big three that they have in their lineup with Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, and JD Martinez, they're big trouble. All those guys, I'm pretty sure all of them made the All-Star team. They all can hit like crazy, so like those are the big three that we gotta watch out for and hopefully try to contain this series if we want to have a chance to win some games here. Pitching wise, they have a 3.99 ERA. That's 14th in the MLB, 7th in the American League. Their 3.86 fielding independent pitching is 10th in the MLB, 4th in the American League. They have a 4.08 expected fielding independent pitching, which is 13th in the MLB and 6th in the AL. Their 9.45 K per 9 is 12th in the MLB, 6th in the American League. Their 3.54 walks per 9 is 18th in the MLB and 10th in the American League. They have a 1.02 home runs per 9, which is 4th in the MLB and 1st in the American League. So they seem statistically as a pretty average total pitching staff, maybe a little bit above average. The one thing they do at an elite level, though, is they keep the ball in the ballpark. Which, again, the Angels, they've been one of the best home run hitting teams in the league. They hit a lot of home runs, and they're facing a team that doesn't give up many. So it's going to be interesting to see, can the Angels drive some balls out of the ballpark? Or are they going to struggle at that with this Boston team that really does well at keeping the ball in the ballpark and forcing you to manufacture runs? So that's going to just be an interesting thing. And especially they have one of the best home runs per 9. They're playing at Fenway where there's going to be a lot of cheap home runs. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting. If we want to look at the projected pitching matchups on Monday, which is today, I'm recording this on Monday. I'm usually going to record the podcasts that come out on Monday on Sunday, but again, 4th of July was just I wanted to enjoy the day. But the projected pitching matchups today on Monday, the Angels are going to be starting Jose Suarez, his first start of the season. He's 3-1 with a 1.98 ERA. He's had a really good year. Hopefully he continues that in the rotation in his first start. He's going to be opposed by Martin Perez, who is 6-4 with a 4.04 ERA. And his advanced numbers indicate that 4.04 ERA is a little bit better than his advanced, than what it should be. But again, Martin Perez, he's been successful ever since he's gotten to Boston. So again, the Angels are gonna have to hit. Tuesday, Tuesday's the best matchup when it comes to pitching. Shohei Ohtani will be going for the Angels. He's 3-1 with the 3.60 ERA. And he will be opposed by Nathan Eovaldi, who is basically the Red Sox ace. He's 9-4 with a 3.41 ERA, but he is a 2.55 FIP. So Nathan Eovaldi is really good. So he's a guy that the Angels will probably have some troubles with. And then Wednesday, the day game, the Angels will be throwing out Andrew Heaney, who is 4-6 with a 5.40 ERA. We know with Heaney, he's a mixed bag. We'll see just which one we get. Will we get good Heaney or will we get bad Heaney? Hopefully, last time we got bad Heaney. I think we've got bad Heaney twice in a row. So hopefully we get good Heaney on Wednesday, because good Heaney equals wins, I guess. But the Red Sox, they're going to be countering in that game with Eduardo Rodriguez, who is 6-4 with a 5.42 ERA. He's been hittable this year. So, but again, he's capable of being a really good pitcher. So, again, we'll end up seeing. As for a prediction for this Red Sox Angels series at the Big A, the Angels coming in at 42-41. Again, they are in a spot where losing series probably means they're losing ground in the standings, especially with all the similar matchups. Because again, lots of the teams that are chasing the American League this week are playing each other. So, losing some games means that you aren't losing ground on some teams, but it also means that you aren't gaining or that you are losing ground on some teams. So, that made sense. I don't know. But they need to win some of these games. Again, I said it when Chalk got hurt. I thought the goal was to get to the All-Star break over 500. And I think, and for them to do that, they got to go 3-3 in their next 6. And if they take 2 out of 3 here, then they are really set up to go 3-3 and maybe better. But I'm going to say they drop 2 or 3 to Boston. I think they're going to be able to get 1. I don't think they're going to get swept. They played Boston pretty well the first time they matched up. Again, the one game they got killed in was Dylan Bundy getting rocked, and they just weren't able to score. But they blew the first game they played in Boston because Tony Watson gave up a 2-run home run to Bobby Dalbec, and then they stole the last game when Ohtani, with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, in the top of the ninth, hit a go-ahead 2-run home run. So I'm going to say they dropped 2 or 3. They head into Seattle 43-43, needing a series win to get to the break above 500. But again, I hope they win 2 or 3. That would be awesome. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Game tonight, if you're going, be loud, be proud, cheer on the boys, and let's hopefully get a win tonight. Thank you for watching, if you are still here. Thank you for watching the Halo Zone podcast. That's going to kind of wrap us up. Again, we're going a little above an hour. So, again, thank you for watching. We're probably going to have the next episode out on Thursday, maybe Friday, but most likely Thursday. I'm going to try to drop 2 a week, kind of before each series, and we'll just go from there. But until then, I will see you guys again. Follow me on Twitter at Team Ohtani if you want to see just live tweets from the games versus the Red Sox. I'm gonna miss some of the game on Wednesday because I have work and it's a day game. But I will see you guys on Thursday, hopefully. Peace.